Melbourne racer and car builder George Vidovic is one of the most popular and colourful characters on the local motorsport scene. Throughout the history of In-Pit Lane, George has always been one of our strongest supporters and good friends. And after a successful move to the USA to follow his motorsport dreams, George made a triumphant return to local motorsport at the 2025 historic Sandown. And he brought a souvenir from his USA adventures.
We're here with all our bells and whistles. We brought this fantastic M6B from the United States, 1969 McLaren M6B. We were lucky enough to find it in Florida, and we found it with the help of a young man called Greg Robb, who was a broker of classic cars, so of sports cars. And he found it for us in a barn, literally a barn in Florida. It was in huge disarray. The good thing about it was a car that was raced in the UK. It belonged to a gentleman by the name of Victor Mayet, who raced it for the last time in 1996 at the 30th anniversary of Can-Am at Road America. So it was the last time it ran in anger there. So we bought it in a really bad condition. All the wheels had seized, the brakes had seized, all the motor had oxidised. We were lucky enough to get a spare motor with it, but it took me about a year and a half, 2 years to get it back on road. We didn't restore it. I didn't want to turn it into a trailer queen. I didn't want to zinc plate things and chrome plate things or nickel plate things. So we just wanted to make it race-worthy and safe, which we did. You know, we put a brand new fuel bladder in it, which it needed, all sorts of little bits and pieces, bearings. So we created this car and we started racing it back in 2020. I think the first event we did was Button Willow in Los Angeles, California, with Vara, which is a great organisation. And then we started racing it at Willow Spring. No, sorry, not Willow Springs. We did Road Atlanta. We did Barber Motorsport Park, Road America, which was one of the most exciting tracks. And we were lucky enough to be invited to the Monterey Prehistorics and the Historics at Laguna Seca. So we raced it there in the Can-Am series. We raced it against Zach Brown. And believe it or not, George Nax's old M8F was there. A gentleman by the name of Chris Springer purchased his car, and we were lucky enough to race against that. So that's the background of this car, Brett, and we're excited to have it here at Sandown and have it here in Australia. And we'll be racing it here for the next 6 months, mate.
Hopefully we will get it out for the weekend, because it is, let's face it, it is miserable. It is persistently raining here at Sandown, and of course you don't bring it all this way. You don't want to risk it. Just give us a few more details. We see that lovely. You mentioned that lovely engine.
Well, okay.
Tell us what's under.
Well, you know, the basic
bottom,
M6B tub that was manufactured by Trojan back in England under the license from McLaren. Then it's running a small block 305 Chevrolet engine, cast iron block. It's running the original Lucas magnesium mechanical injection. It has been upgraded with the ignition system, which is electronic ignition system. It's running the original 5-speed LG 600 gearbox. So basically the running gear is all original, including the brakes and the suspension. But all in all, that's the basic backbone of the car. They're very, very simple. There's not a lot to them, as you can see, and they're not necessarily the safest race car to run. But they run a fuel pod that's on the left-hand side, trying to keep it away from the driver. Big deal. I don't think that's a real safety item there. But very, very basic motor car, and probably one of the most beautiful cars I've ever driven in my life, considering I drive that Python, which you got to grab by the scruff of the neck and drive, whereas this one needs a little bit more finesse and a little bit more class, and you don't have to be too aggressive with the car to drive it. But that's the backbone.
Now, just as we're here at the Sandown Historics and historic racing, I mean, I think the last time we spoke about historic racing, it was really booming and all that, but right now we've got lots and lots of meetings, and the fields are going down and down. The eligibility.
Do we really have to talk about that?
Well, just because you're in a really good position, because you're seeing how they're running it in the United States.
Yeah,
and every
true.
time I look at something, because obviously a lot of George's races over in America are live streamed, and you can watch them through there with their speed series over there.
SVRA.
SVRA. And I look at some of the fields there, and I look at the cars that are running, and I go, most of those cars would not be eligible in Australia. And I just spoke to someone just recently from Motorsport Australia about, moving the sport on, and it was like, no, that's not going to happen. Like basically, if it was made after 1998, we're not interested. It's not historic.
Look, Brett, I hate you,
Oh, it's a big club.
I mean, the reason I said that is I really don't want to open up a can of worms. A lot of the things
Oh,
that
this is the place, George.
no, look, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's a different sandbox. America is a different sandbox to Australia. There's no doubt about it. Australia, to me, being back now, and I certainly don't want to make enemies of anybody. I certainly don't want to throw myself into the fire, definitely. But the FIA standards are a lot more prevalent in Australia because Australia is following that European standard. America has always been the rebel, has always been the cool kid, and the respect that whatever you've got, bring it to us and we'll find a place for you.
Yeah.
And they're very accommodating like that. You've also got to understand that America doesn't have a governing body over all their organisations. So you've got IMSA that creates that's got a series. You've got Indy, you've got NASCAR, but under those umbrellas, you've got in private companies or organisations or larger people that own smaller events like SVRA, VARA, CSGR, HSR. These are all organisations that vow to get more people coming into the sport. So they open up the classes and welcome you in. So it's very, very different sandbox. I'm trying to be very diplomatic here in how I approach this conversation, but, when I brought the McLaren into racing with SVRA and HSR, their attitude was, wow, it's a McLaren Can-Am car. Right, we're going to put you in Group 7. Straight away, they found a category for us.
Yep.
There was no question of the history or the provenance of the car. People within the committee said, yep, it's the real deal. We're happy with the car. We're not really concerned about any small modifications to the car. You're racing with us.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia is a little bit more conservative. They really want to treat you a little bit different. They want to make sure that the car's correct. Do I get it? Yeah, I get it. Do I like it? No, I don't want to say it.
Double-edged sword, isn't it?
It certainly is.
The provenance, Australia. This is why Australian cars are so much in demand overseas, and this is part of the problem. We have so many wonderful cars sitting in sheds at the moment that are going overseas because people who have cars from, say, the early 2000s have nowhere to race them, whereas somebody like Zach Brown, who you talked about before, more than happy to buy an old supercar and race it at Laguna Seca.
Yep.
No problem.
You've hit it. You've hit the nail on the head, mate. That's all I can say is you're spot on. You know exactly what's going on. And it's fantastic that you do, and it's fantastic that you have a platform to speak about it. It's hard to talk to people and get honest answers from them because, like I said, they don't want to put their heads on the chopping block.
So we talked about your journey over to the United States and all of the. Apart from running the McLaren, you've still also been running your Python, and you've actually been pretty successful. I understand I'm now talking to a genuine bona fide North American champion. Tell us about that.
Look, yeah, it really came to us as a surprise to myself. I was really excited too. We had come over here. I get a phone call from Carlos Gann, who's become a very dear friend. He races a NASCAR series over there, runs a NASCAR team in Lafayette, Georgia. And he goes, George, where are you? And I said, well, I'm in Australia racing it. He goes, yeah, I know. He goes, but just want to let you know that we're having a presentation night tomorrow night, and you've won the Group 10 GT Championship for 2025. And I said, how the hell does that work? And he goes, well, the next two guys that were behind you in points didn't have enough points to reach you, even though you were going to miss 2 rounds, and it ended up you winning the championship. So, yes, mate, you're speaking to the GT 2025 GT champion of North America. Thank you very much.
I feel duly honoured.
Yeah, well, thanks very much for that, mate.
So, as you say, running it here in Australia, so I imagine that we might see it down at Phillip Island later on in the early part of the year.
Look, it's gonna stay here definitely for the next 12 months. We've spoken to Motorsport Australia. We're going through all the necessary paperwork for them to allow us to race here, which is great. A lot of the guys are helping us about that. So we're going to race it at Geelong Speed Trials at the end of the month, which we hope
we'll see you there.
That's fantastic. We hope we have some viewers there, and anyone that mentions In Pit Lane and Brett and Doc will get a free poster. And hopefully, if you're really nice, I'll sign it too. But anyway,
there you go.
Sorry, mate. So yes, we're doing Geelong, and we're going to then after that we're going to do Island Magic, not Island Magic,
The Phillip Holland Historic,
Phil and
the
Holland,
classic.
correct.
Which
And
I think has got another new name now. They've made it even more complicated.
yeah, I
but
think it's called the
nonetheless.
Penrite 100 or something
Yeah,
like that.
something
now.
like that. It's brought to you by in association with and with the provenance of God or something.
Exactly. So we'll do that. We'll also do the Malala Historics, which we've signed up for.
Lovely. Yes,
So
you'll love that. You'll
that's
love
going to
that.
be great. And we're going to do the historics at Winton also. So there's a lot more tracks that we'll be doing this year, and I'm excited to have this car here to sort of to discover the Australian tracks. So that's really great.
Well, as I said, it's great to see you back here, and also happy birthday.
Oh yes, thank you very much, mate.
So it is birthday. So if you haven't sent George a birthday present, the address is.
That's right.
Let us know.
Yeah, gmvcobra@gmail.com. Thank you
And
very
here's
much.
one of the posters. Look,
And-
here's the poster. You've
and-
always been very good with the posters.
Well, we've
Look
got
at the posters. Look at
Yes, there's a poster. If you come to see us at Geelong and mention Brett and Doc from In Pit Lane, we'll give you a poster. And you know what? If you're really nice, I'll put my signature on it too. It might be worth a few dollars in the near future.
That's right. If he gets arrested for something, you know, like trying to get back into America, who
Look at
knows?
this face.
George, thanks for joining us, mate.
You're welcome, mate. Good on you.
Thanks,
Thank
mate.
you very much. Cheers.
Sadly, the combination of the atrocious Sandown weather and a serious gearbox failure meant no on-track action from George this weekend. But if you're anywhere near Geelong at the end of November, drop in and say hi. Oh, and grab a poster. Tell them In Pit Lane sent you.